Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to episode number 4 of the new Legends wish list with myself and my partner Justin. This one's for the National League, and if you've made it this far in the series, thank you. If you're new, welcome. Hit that subscribe button. Yeah, this is my good friend Justin. Say what's up.
What's up? What's up, guys?
He's a professional quarterback, I guess now, technically, right? For
But
the
now,
Tucson Sugar Skulls.
yep. So we're talking about the NL West today. Arizona Diamondbacks fans definitely need to come out and support us Sugar Skulls down in Tucson.
Yeah, Justin's a real good guy. Has a YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, all that will be linked in the description. You have a website, right?
Yeah, I do. So I've got my own personal brand where we do some private quarterback training and do some baseball and some other rotational athlete stuff too. But it's a full-on TB12 type plan where you've got your mental, emotional, your diet, nutrition, and soon to becoming merch whenever the platform grows. So definitely go to a11performance.com and check that stuff out. Leave me a like, a follow on all my socials. That'll be down in the description. So JRthQB11 on Instagram, Justin RthQB on Twitter, and Justin Arth on YouTube. I got some vlogs and stuff coming along on the journey of being an indoor football league football player and all the other crazy stuff that is to come with some other leagues that I won't let you guys know just yet. You got to watch the YouTube videos that'll come out soon.
We're going to talk about the NL West. Same rules as the last video. The rules are more in depth in the first video, but basically, we try to avoid the slam dunks, i.e., like Barry Bonds on the Giants. Yeah, if you want to hear about him, everybody knows he should be in the game. Everybody knows almost everything about Barry Bonds. Should be in the game. Would be really fun. Will he ever be? Probably not. But we're going to try to avoid players like that. Focus on some maybe more realistic players. And I guess we should start. Who do you want to start with, Justin?
I mean, we can start with the D-backs. Yeah, we can get the low-hanging fruit out of the way. And one thing we can talk about too is the NL West is really hard to choose players this year because you look at the Dodgers; they've got way too many people. So there's only one or two that they're really missing. And then a lot of these other teams, they're fresh new babies in terms of franchises in Major League Baseball. And so a lot of these guys are going to be low-hanging fruit for most of us around our age because we grew up with these players. But in terms of Diamondbacks, if any of you watched the AL West video, you heard me say for the Mariners, Randy Johnson. Randy Johnson definitely deserves to have a Diamondbacks legend card as well. I mean, his number 51's retired by the D-backs. He's a five-time champion. He's a five-time U.S. World Series champion, I should say. And he's a success story of what happens when you follow my Tom House Sports program. But the other guy, I will say, is Mark Grace. People in Arizona love him, and he's definitely someone who they think is a legend. So give him the 3 years he had in Arizona and make him a Legends card. But the Diamondbacks pretty much have everybody in the game other than Randy Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
And Randy will more than likely be in the game this year. So
Was in the trailer, no longer in the trailer. Y'all can hear our rant about that at the last video. Mark Grace, one of the reasons I picked him, the Diamondbacks are a fairly new franchise, y'all. So not a lot of history to pull from, maybe. But they have a Legends race, maybe, for those of you guys that don't live in Arizona or have never been to a D-backs game. They have a Legends race at some point in the middle of the game, and one of the legends, the only legend that's not already in the game that runs in that, as like a big bobblehead mascot situation, is Mark Grace, even though he's only there for 3 years. So I guess he was very impactful there on the people,
yeah,
even
I
though he
mean,
was more impactful on the field as a Cub.
and one other kind of wild card that I'm throwing in just for personal laughs is Ender Inciarte. He's now out of baseball. Give me an Ender Inciarte card. One of my favorite players in Braves history. Definitely found him before he was an actual player by doing a D-backs franchise back in like MLB 12 or MLB 13, the show, whenever he was a young prospect. So love me some Ender.
Yeah, there is just not a lot, right? Brandon Webb was a big one for me last year, but they added him to the game.
Yeah,
Kurt Schilling, maybe he gets real controversial, but could be a fun card to add in the game, both as a D-back and maybe a Red Sox. And then everybody else in D-backs history that you would want in the game is in the game. Like Gonzalez is in the game.
Yeah, Jake Lamb's even in the game.
Yeah,
So
BR legend. Yeah, so that's all we got for the Diamondbacks. So that's kind of a quickie, which is also the title of Justin's sex tape. Okay, from there we'll go to the San Francisco Giants, and I have a feeling we're going to have the same two for this one as well. Why don't you talk about Tim Lincecum, Justin?
I think he is definitely the Jacob deGrom before Jacob deGrom. He was extremely dominant during his time frame. That he was a pitcher for the Giants, but unfortunately, the injuries created one of the biggest what if stories in baseball. I mean, his funky delivery to his wild, violent throwing motion to how tall and lanky he was. So everything about Lincecum was like so weird that you fell in love with it. And then, not to mention that he was so dominant. I mean, the World Series championships that they won every even year from like 2010 to 2014 or two
Yeah.
or whatever it was. I mean, like he was an integral part of all those, even during some of those down years, like 2012. Tim Lincecum is a legend in my book. He's again the Degrom before Degrom. Need those luscious locks in the game. So give me the luscious locks, Lincecum.
That flow was incredible. Also, he went through, I'm looking at his baseball reference pictures. He went through that weird peach fuzz mustache phase. I don't know if
Yes,
that was not a good look for him.
that is the look that they need to face model him into the game with.
You think so? See, he didn't have
He,
hair. He didn't have the long hair at that point, though. I feel like I'd
well,
rather maybe both. Maybe do
well,
like a hybrid.
yeah, exactly. So the fact that Tim Lincecum is a meme now because of how he pitched and how dominant he was, just make him the full on meme. So
Yeah.
give him the peach fuzz, give him the luscious locks, and throw him in the game.
He would be, I think, a great card. So the beauty of Diamond Dynasty, right, is you're encapsulating most of the time 1 year, unless it's a signature series, and I think it takes three from 2008 to 2010. He was one of the best pitchers in baseball, without question. My other one for the Giants, I mean, just recently retired, but we need him back in the game as quickly as possible, is Buster Posey. One of the
Yes.
better catchers of our generation. Maybe a right-handed Joe Mauer would be the comp, at least more recently. But yeah, he needs to be in the game as soon as possible. Give him a rookie card, give him that MVP card, give him All-Star, Gold Glove, Silver Slate. Like, he did all of it.
Yeah, he's one of the best catchers that I've ever seen play, whether it be in person at the ballpark, whenever he was in Atlanta, or just in general. Now, obviously, you've still got your Yadi Molinas, and even Kurt Suzuki is sneakily underrated. One of the better catchers we've seen in a while.
What?
But no, Buster Posey takes the cake for being one of the best catchers of all time, in my opinion. And I know he's fresh retired, but you've still got his licensing. So put him right back into the game. Say, hey, Buster, enjoy your retirement. Here's the check to stay in the video game.
I mean, he could, right? He's one of the better, I wouldn't say he's the best, but he's definitely in the conversation of top 10, certainly, catchers of all time, especially
Mm-hmm.
years. It would feel not right to not have him in the show in some respect.
Yeah, and the thing that unfortunately I think will get him is the fact that MLB The Show and San Diego Studios seems to wait 3 to 5 years after the retirement of a player to try to get their licensing back to put them in the game, since they're obviously not with the MLBPA anymore. And
Right.
any licensing, especially with recent retirement players like Buster Posey, MLBPA and MLB are only talking for like 15 minutes a day right now. So
Yeah.
I don't think the MLBPA is going to be giving away any new licensing. No, he's someone that if we don't get him in this year, he will continue to be on my list for the San Francisco Giants until he gets back in the game.
Would agree. Those are my only two for the Giants. I mean, Barry Bonds, obviously, uh, but those are the main two I had for the
Yep,
Giants.
same.
All right, let's go I was gonna say let's go out west, but we're already pretty much as far west as we can go. Let's go to San Diego. Who'd you have for that?
Yeah, so for San Diego, we definitely need Jake Peavy in the game. Peavy was outstanding in his time in San Diego. Definitely won the Cy Young in 2007. That year went 19-6 with a 2.54 ERA, but he still had a 2.27 ERA in 2004. So he was great as a Padre. Obviously, he moved around a lot of different places, and he had a solid year in that 2015 run with the Giants too. So maybe give him a Giants moments card. Really solid pitcher that you forget he kind of existed, but
Yeah.
was still amazing in his time in Major League Baseball. But he was someone you always forgot existed, but knew he was still around. If that makes any sense. Caminiti, I can never say his name, even though it's so easy. Uh,
Believe it
to
is Caminiti.
Caminiti, yes, Caminiti, Ken Caminiti. So he is definitely another third baseman to get in the game because we always need more switch hitting third basemen, and we're kind of light on third baseman. So definitely someone who could even fill in some Houston Astros role too because he was with them from '87 to '94. Was an All Star his last year in Houston. Numbers weren't amazing, but solid enough for him to maybe get a rookie card since he would be a legend with the Padres. But won the MVP in 1996. Finished his career in Atlanta. That's something I didn't even know. Caminiti is someone that definitely needs to be in the game as a Padre. We do need a Tops Now card or a Moments card or whatever you want to give to my El Paso Chihuahuas friend and legend, Danny Camarena. I need my boy to have a Tops Now card this year with him hitting that walk off grand slam or the
Oh,
grand slam against Scherzer. Pitchers aren't even hitting anymore now, so he needs a card while the iron's still hot. So give him the Tops Now card. Give my boy Danny Camarena the card. Danny, if you're watching, I got you, brother. Give him a card. San Diego, call him back up. He was a solid pitcher for you. He can definitely help you get to the playoffs. But Danny
the
Camarena, Tops Now card, grand slam off Scherzer.
you know
Pitchers,
what's funny
great.
is I think he had one top snout card last year, and the video's also just watching me not spell Camarena correctly at all. So we're not even going to get to his baseball references. But yeah, that would be a good throwback card, especially if we don't get baseball for a little bit, just like as a filler tops now.
Yeah, he is staying in my rotation. If just personally because he's my friend, but anyway, he's
Yeah.
staying in the rotation regardless of what cards I have next year if he's in the game.
I wanted to talk about PV. His mugshot, this is not important at all. But his mugshot in baseball ref, he is like staring deeply into my soul.
He looks like he looks like he just got a DUI.
Dude, he looks like he has seen some stuff in
Yeah.
in that picture. Like not even sort of a smile, not even a smirk. He's just like, "Why am I here? Leave me alone."
Well, that's what you get when you're from Mobile, Alabama.
Yeah, I guess so. You get to marry your cousin and you get to look like you've seen things. Okay,
Yes.
let's go out east for the NL West. We're gonna go the Colorado Rockies. How do you pronounce Colorado, by the way? Colorado or Colorado?
I say Colorado.
Okay. I
So,
have a
but
friend from
yeah,
Colorado and I don't remember how he pronounces it. I guess I should ask him.
yeah, that's definitely something we need to ask. But no, I mean, I've got two kind of slam dunks, and this obviously goes straight back with the St. Louis Cardinals with the NL Central video we talked about. But Matt Holliday with the Rockies is definitely someone who we need. 299 batting average, just over 2,000 hits, 316 home runs, 1,200 RBIs. You just look anywhere at how he plays the game. He was described as a patient on base guy who can hit bombs. That sounds like the perfect ultimate Diamond Dynasty player, and he was a legend in his own right for two different teams. So Matt Holliday, definitely a Rockies legend. And again, the Rockies are a fairly new franchise. They don't have too many people. Matt Kemp will probably get a card this year, and he was only with the Rockies for like a year. So the thing is, Matt Holliday, give him a card, get him in the game, immortalize him. He's a legend in Rockies history. But if we want to really talk about a legend, this one is nostalgic for me. He's one of my favorite shortstops in the game. Whenever I was growing up watching baseball, forgot how fat he got when he retired, but give me some Troy Tulowitzki. I mean, the dude was Jeter level in terms of fielding. And not to mention, he had a 290 batting average, 225 home runs in his career with 780 RBIs. I mean, so he had a cannon for an arm, amazing fielder, leadership stats. So MLB The Show, San Diego Studios, if you want to start adding like leadership traits and chemistries and all that, he's definitely someone who you give the leadership trait to. And hey, we talk about what could have been for Tim Lincecum, or if you watch the AL West video, some other guys we mentioned there, but he's another what could have been.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, he still was amazing in his time that he did play, but what could have been if he wouldn't have had those injuries in Toronto and even towards his ending part of his career with the Rockies.
Tulo, Yankees legend, by the way. Tulowitzki might be the best shortstop in Yankees history. Um, just couldn't keep a straight face after that. No,
Yeah, you're going to
Tulo.
get a lot of people hating you on that one.
Oh, that's the goal. Tulo. I mean, we talk about what ifs, right? If he had stayed healthy, he's probably one of the better shortstops in this era of like years that he played. You just couldn't though. Even still though, he had an All-Star, Silver Slugger, Gold Gloves. Finished top 5 in MVP voting a couple of times. Finished 25th in 2014 in MVP voting. Again, why do we count to that high? No, he got one vote in 2015 for MVP. That would be sick. He had a 99 card. I think it was like an MLB 17 maybe. He was still playing on the Blue Jays, so it would have been 2017 or 2016, but he had a 99 card that raked.
Yes.
Uh, and
Uh,
I desperately want that back. You want to hear my off the ball one?
Go.
Ubaldo Jimenez.
Ah.
He had 1 year where he was dominant, and we need a card to commemorate that year because he was unbelievable for literally 1 year. Not that he wasn't good in other years, but especially what 2010 was
Yeah,
balling out.
yeah, and I will say in Rockies history, there's not too many pitchers that have ever balled out in Colorado.
Yeah,
So the fact if you can at least get to a 500 record with like a 3.20 ERA in Colorado, you are a legend.
that
So
is.
Ubaldo Jimenez, 99 stats, everything.
It was I 288 ERA, right? 310 fielding independent pitching. So some of that maybe is a little bit luck. He had he had the wins. He was third in Cy Young. He had 200 plus strikeouts. Like just for that 1 year, just a card for that 1 year would be incredible. The rest of his career, kind of meh, to be honest. But yeah, that 1 year would be an incredible card. Let's do who's left? The Dodgers. Started in Brooklyn, obviously no longer in the East, and now in the West, out in LA. Who did you have for the Dodgers, Justin?
Well, don't need anybody else in the game because they've basically got everybody but this one person. But he is one of the best lefties to ever pitch, and you should all know him, Sandy Koufax. So, I mean, obviously a Brooklyn Dodger and helped in the move to LA. and spent about 11 seasons or so, or 12 seasons with them from 1955 to 1966. Obviously became dominant with six straight All Star appearances and 18th in MVP voting, 24th in MVP voting. But then finally got the three Cy Youngs and an MVP to his name towards the end of his career. The dude had consistently, he was basically on average for a 20-win season as a starting pitcher. Sandy Koufax, absolute legend. He's a Dodger that, even though I don't like the Dodgers, sorry, Dodger fans, please take care of Freddie Freeman if he's there. But Dodger fans, he's one of the greatest to ever play. Sandy Koufax needs to be in the game. Not full 99 card, no questions asked.
His I don't love ERA stats as a pitcher because I feel like they're not a like they don't tell the whole story. But
Exactly.
but and it's a big but, which I love big buts, and I cannot lie. His from 62 to 66, those ERA numbers are nutty.
Yeah.
254, 188, 174, 204, 173 in consecutive years. Like it wasn't like, oh, he had a one really good season, then was down for a couple, and then he's back. No, like he was like dominant. What is that?
Yeah.
5 years in a row?
Yeah, and what makes it even crazier is the number of innings pitched that he had every single year there. During that stretch where he, from 62 to 66, the least he pitched was 184.1 innings. Every other time, it was at least 223 or higher. And so the dude's putting up a sub 2 ERA essentially with over 300 innings pitched. That's where the ERA stat I think really does
Yeah.
tell the story. But no, if you're going into today's game where guys are only pitching 150 to maybe 200 innings a year, ERA definitely doesn't tell the whole story. But Sandy Koufax ERA tells a large portion of the story.
It is unbelievable to me that in 1963, and the rest of this video, I guess, is just going to be us talking about Sandy Koufax because he's a lord. But he had 11 complete game shutouts in 1963. Like in 1 year, he had 11. There are pitchers today that are not getting 11 shutouts. There are aces
Yeah,
today that are not getting 11 shutouts in a career, like complete game. That is
yeah.
a number, regardless of era.
And not to mention he had 20 complete games that year, and he still then topped himself in 65 and 66 with 27 complete games. So 41 games started in 66, and that was the last year he ever played baseball.
Yeah.
So I mean, the dude is a legend. Then we haven't even talked about his strikeout numbers.
Yeah, because that's kind of insane.
Yeah, his strikeout numbers are insane. His hit by pitch numbers are practically none. I mean, his walk numbers are practically none for the amount of innings he pitched.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's actually kind of surprises me that in 1963 he still gave up 7 intentional walks. Just, I
Yeah.
mean, why do you want to give him 7 that year? You can just go strike 4 of them out and just give them 3.
I
But
want a list of
no,
who Sandy Koufax intentionally walked in these years.
there's 48 guys he's intentionally walked in his entire career. So some stat track guy at Amazon Web Services, find that stuff for us, send it to us. But no, I mean Sandy Koufax is an absolute legend.
Dude, 382 strikeouts in a year. That no one's coming close to that ever again. I wouldn't think.
Yeah, no. The way finally starting to learn to take care of their arms. Yeah, no, we're not even going to see a pitcher come even close to 184 innings pitched. I think in consecutive seasons, let alone 223 to 300. So yeah, the sample size is going to be way too small to be able to reach those strikeout numbers.
Yeah. So outside of a bunch of random bros in the 1800s, who Matt Kilroy apparently had 513 strikeouts
Jeez.
uh, in a year, but also he pitched 583 innings. So that's a little bit inflated. But like outside of those guys in the 1800s, it's him and Nolan Ryan are 1 and 2 and like did not pitch 600 innings to get to 500 strikeouts. I guess you'd call that the modern era.
Yeah.
But yeah, no one's coming close to 382 or 383. I put him in the game, honestly. Like that's just it is unbelievable. It's also unbelievable that he was not unanimous to get in
Oh
the.
yeah, no, he should have been unanimous. Look at the numbers, and I would have given him every single vote I had if I was one of the journalists.
What there? So you got 344 out of 396, right?
Hmm.
So that there's 50-ish, 52 people that year in 72, the year he was inducted, that looked at Koufax's career and were like, nah, leave him out. Not a Hall of Famer. Like who
Well,
in the
see,
world?
I feel like it's going to be the same people. Oh, obviously, they're not alive, but it's the same type of thought process of the people that will probably not put Tim Lincecum in as a first ballot Hall of Famer
Yeah, I don't
because
know.
they'll say the sample size is too small because he only played 12 years.
Yeah, dude, that stretch of dominance is unbelievable. Yeah, but that's enough rambling about Koufax, which is, I guess, what most of that video is going to be because there's just not a lot to talk about out west. Everybody you'd want in the game is in the game. But thank you guys for watching. It's like 12:30 a.m. for Justin because he's on the East Coast and we're
Yep.
recording late.
Oh
So
yeah.
if you made it to the end of this video, comment Sandy and comment what you would do if you met one of the people that didn't vote him into the Hall of Fame. But yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next one.